China now faces up to 245% tariffs due to retaliatory actions. China says it is aware that certain goods are facing this 245% tariff, but they will ignore the numbers game and continue to fight until the end. They will continue to fight no matter what war that the US wants to go into. Now, last night we saw the US futures, we saw S&P 500 futures surge 100 points on a report of China being open to talks with Donald Trump. What had come from this is that it's actually kind of true based on a contingency, and I'll give you that in a minute. But the source that that Bloomberg used for this was, in quotes, a person familiar with Chinese government thinking. Okay, I want to warn you guys about all of the fake news that is coming out lately, and you want to be very, very careful listening to these news outlets when you are trading. Now, the S&P 500 is down a little bit on the day. We're going to talk about some things that are affecting it. First of all, most importantly, Jerome Powell speaks at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard. I will link this in the description. It should be live, and if I remember, I will link it at the top of the video. Speaking of the Fed, really quick, Senator Mike Lee is calling to abolish the IRS and the Federal Reserve. Now, China did say it's open to talks if Trump shows some respect. They say that, listen, if the US stops blackmailing us and trying to, I don't want to use the word, but basically bitch us, then we'll come to an agreement. But until then, Donald Trump has to, show a little bit of respect here. That's basically what China is saying. Nvidia got hit. Nvidia got hit hard. Nvidia has just reported that the US government is banning their export of H20 products to China for the indefinite future. Now, they said after this is going to take a $5.5 billion hit to their revenue. Nvidia is down 7.5% on the day, trading at 104 right now. This is not good. It's not good for our market, seeing Nvidia is one of the biggest, if not the biggest stock in the S&P 500. And then we have Apple selling off as well, down 2.6%. Both of these holding support as of right now. But again, until Powell speaks is when we will see that move. Right now, the SPY is holding in this channel. And as long as we are above 528, we are still in this channel. And then as long as we are above 520, there is major order blocks between 520 and 480. So we would need some very, very negative news. And what that news would have to be is Jerome Powell saying, hey, there is a lot of uncertainty. It depends on his tone. If he is showing that he doesn't really know what's going on, and then he also says that we probably won't cut in May, early May at this meeting, like people priced in, right? Traders priced in, then this thing is going to drop. Let's move on here. Gold still continuing to rise. This is up 3%, $3,333, which is absolutely insane. Gold is still skyrocketing. It just has not stopped. Bitcoin broke beneath this channel that we have been trading in, giving us somewhat of a little bit of a warning signal, but we will have to see if this thing can recapture this channel and start to rally higher. Speaking of Bitcoin, I do want to state that the global M2 money supply has been rising. This also has indicated market bottoms, alongside the VIX getting that massive spike up to 50. And it also indicates that money should soon flow into Bitcoin. So are we in a market of extreme fear that is right on the edge of a bull market? Possibly. It is pretty scary, the market that we're in, because normally when you're in a crash, you're like, oh, well, this is definitely a crash. We can block out the noise. But the factors of this crash are pretty different than the other crashes. They're pretty big. So are we going to see a massive drop from here? We possibly could. And the thing is, the Fed is going to intervene. That's something that we do know. But will they have to intervene at these price levels? Probably not. But we'll see what Powell says and what he wants to do. But once there is sheer panic based off of what he says, based off of what Trump is doing, then the Fed will intervene. And right now, I don't see this as sheer panic. Now, Computershare was down today. They were experiencing a little bit of issues. If you have your money on Computershare coming into the short squeeze with GameStop and AMC, I would be very, very careful here. But that goes for brokers as well. Now, GameStop saw selling pressure today. Why? Why did it see selling pressure today? What are we going to see for Monday? I will tell you really quick that those May calls, the May 16th, 30, 31, $32 strike call options that were purchased in the $5,000 or the 5,000 order blocks that we assume was Roaring Kitty were sold off. And then something else was purchased. Now, before I tell you what that was, I'm going to say join the Discord server. It's the top link in the description. We talk stocks and crypto. I post my trades as soon as I take them. Overall, best family, best community, best vibes in there. Now, these calls were sold off, indicating something not good coming for next week. And then on top of that, $26 puts were actually purchased instead, expiring April 25th. So does someone see something that we don't see? In other words, a lot of selling pressure coming into next week, which would burn a lot of retail premiums, mine included, because I am personally assuming we see something come out with Roaring Kitty Sunday night coming into Monday, and whoever purchased these calls doesn't, or whoever purchased these puts doesn't think so. And a lot of the times when you see, and don't worry, I'll tell you what I think is coming. A lot of times when you see a melt up like this and everyone here calling for a squeeze, normally it gets shut down, right? And that's just the reality of it. So a lot of premium burn. It's possible. Okay, it's possible. Is it plausible? I'm not really sure. I think Roaring Kitty can stop that from happening if we truly know that he's going to come out Sunday night and say something. Now, one thing we do know, you know what? Before I tell you one thing we do know, I'll give you a little bit of tin. Real quick before I give you some tin. Just from a technical perspective, GameStop is holding its uptrend, even though we are seeing a day where we're down about 2%. It's holding this uptrend. If we look at the weekly, we can see that there's not a lot of room for GameStop to fall, but if we do fall, I would say the top of the body of this candle, since we have a huge upper wick here, which would bring us down to about 25.35, which would also base us on this box that we see down here, this liquidity box, and we got rejected off of the top one. Okay, so that is something to note for GameStop. If we did sell off, I don't see a huge sell-off coming. And then we also have a huge block that we got rejected off up here several times. You can even see back here all of these wicks, right? Okay, so technical perspective out of the way. What we do know is that 4 years ago, today, April 16th, we got a YOLO update from Roaring Kitty. Okay, is that going to happen tonight? Possibly, but he could be waiting for the right time to do it. So I'll just put that there because that's something that, that's something that we don't know for sure. But I also found some interesting tin thanks to some people on Twitter. Something new just occurred to me about GameStop. There's lots and lots of hype around the date 420. Do you know what happens the next day besides being a Monday? The 129th running of the Boston Marathon, the world's most famous marathon, right in Keith's hometown, which is not true. Incidentally, this will mark 11 years since I ran it. Now, it is not in his hometown because I believe he grew up in Brockton, but we see this picture that was posted March 31st, 2021, Roaring Kitty. And then we also have this May 17th one, ran, right? Just running with the kitty mask on, okay? Anyway, what I'm trying to get at here is we might see a YOLO update. We might see the resurrection date on Sunday coming into Monday, and then 420, after 420, GameStop is just running. Okay, so overall, even though we see the shift in the option chain, everything is still leaning bullish. Now, one thing we do know, I want to point out, is the VIX. The VIX is at 30. It was just at 60. And Roaring Kitty hints at volume. Volume will be maxed out. I think, not certain, right? I think we could possibly see a spike in the VIX. Why I wouldn't go all in on the VIX is because will this volatility in the markets be up instead of down, right? That is why you don't want to go all in. However, I did take a little bit of a nibble at some VIX calls, and I'll tell you, these are for June 18th, 42.50. Okay. A lot of those being purchased up. People didn't like this. I said AMC will be above $20 in a month. Within a month, in my opinion, great opportunity. People didn't like this. A lot of the AMC haters did not like this. Again, guys, I'm not against AMC. I just want to point out, I do believe it will move when GameStop moves. Probably not to the same degree. Okay, I do have these price targets right around 25 and then 88, 90 bucks if things start to get crazy. But ultimately, $6, $11.50, 25, 88, right? Those are the levels that I'm watching. Ken Griffin just sold another $15.9 million in Gold Coast condos and took an $8.7 million total loss. Does he need liquidity for something? Why does he continue to take these losses? I also want to bring up and point out, Holo is back on the radar. Things are looking good. Okay, we saw this pop out of this channel. It's trading actually very similar to GameStop and a lot of other plays. Pop out of this channel, and now we broke below, and now we're breaking back in with a lot of momentum, a lot of volume coming in, up about 40%, trading at 53 cents, and Holo could have some nice moves ahead, so I want to keep it on your radar. Also, just keep a side eye on BlackBerry in case we are around that January 13th, 2021 reflection window. MicroStrategy, and don't worry, the video is finishing up. MicroStrategy is looking good, 314. I do believe we can get to 360 very soon, especially if Bitcoin decides to break out, and these candles look pretty decent. A couple of stocks in the long term are down substantially. APLD 382, it's up 10% on the day, but it got a mass sell-off after it missed on earnings. Okay, it missed on revenue. But again, this one is still something I'm adding to my long-term portfolio. Not going all in, but something I'm adding. AMD got smacked as well. AMD says U.S. chip export controls to China apply to their M1308 products, and they expect these export controls to result in charges of up to $800 million. Okay, so they got smacked alongside NVIDIA. Now trading sub 90. I did buy more AMD as well, just to be fully transparent. Guys, if you're not subscribed yet, we have 32,000 subscribers, and we could easily get to 50,000 subscribers. A lot of you guys come back to my channel, but don't hit that subscribe button. So make sure to do that, join the family, hit that notification bell, and drop a comment down below. I saw all of your comments yesterday, engaging the algorithm, dropping what number like you are. You guys are awesome. You guys are amazing. And let me know what you think about the recent thumbnails that have been going up. And then I'm going to plug a little bit of a free stock sponsor right here for Moomoo. Moomoo, a free broker, zero commissions, start with $0, get access to customizable earnings calendars, viewing other exchanges, its heat map feature, those daily news updates that you need for stocks, and plenty more. But start with actual cash into your account, as in signing up through my link and depositing. Get up to 60 free stocks and earn 8.1% APY on cash that is sitting in your account uninvested whenever you're not trading. Plus, the initial amount you put into your account, earn a 3% match on that, up to $600. Yes, pre-market, post-market trading, trading options, going long, going short, fractional shares, all that good stuff. And a feature I personally like, Moomoo brought back the comment section under stocks. Obviously, other tools, financial overview, so on and so on. Plenty of things that I did not list, but overall, tons of tools to help you, and free stocks hooking me up as well as yourself. Press that link, open an account, and deposit into Moomoo now. Probably be seeing these towards the end of the videos as well, just so that you get your free stocks, I get my free stocks. And make sure to get in my Discord. Get that Top 1 Futures account with 50% off, all that stuff. Check the links. I love you all. God bless. Lottery Stocks out.